Let's move on to looking ahead to this weekend of sports, to this in particular, the SEC tournament bracket. You see it here. The Razorbacks earning a 3 seed. They'll play Friday night around 8:30 Central Standard Time. This game, or this tournament in Nashville at Bridgestone Arena. It's where it's pretty much always been. I know they've moved it around a little bit, but here's the bracket. And I'm going to do my best like I do, I don't know, every other month to try to do some type of bracket breakdown. I'll probably do it a lot coming up in the next few weeks with Arkansas in the NCAA tournament. We'll see how far they make it. But I'm going to do my best. And, you saw my predictions back in January. I was only 1 game off, so I'm feeling good about my predictions. We'll see how many games off I am in this one because it's tough when you get to the SEC tournament. But let's go to my predictions. You see 1 through 16, you see the seeds there. Starting with Wednesday night, or excuse me, Wednesday afternoon. This game 11:30 a.m. Kentucky not used to playing this game at 11:30, but their fans will still show out. And Kentucky wins this easily. So give me Kentucky to move on to this game on Thursday against Missouri. LSU, not a good team this year. Just not a good. Hopefully the Tigers can get back to being a better basketball program. But I'm actually okay with them not being great. And I don't want to root for Kentucky, but I do think they will win that game. The game that follows it, Mississippi State and Auburn. I lean Auburn in this one. Auburn's playing a little bit better as of late, so give me them to advance to the quarterfinal matchup to face off against the 5 seed Tennessee. Auburn's got Keyshawn Hall, Tahad Pettiford. I think one of those guys was a first team SEC player. Both of them are exceptional for this Tigers team. This game also means a lot to Auburn. Mississippi State, I believe right now, is out of the NCAA tournament according to the bracketologist Joe Lunardi. Auburn is in. They're the last team in to the NCAA tournament right now, so they need to win this game to make the NCAA tournament, so they want it more, and I think they are the better team to advance to that one. Okay, Game 3, the evening portion of the SEC tournament on Wednesday night, Ole Miss and Texas. I'm giving the Longhorns the nod here to advance to the quarterfinals to face off against Georgia. Texas, another team that is on the bubble to make the NCAA tournament. They're currently in the last 4 in. Again, Auburn's barely in. Texas is a little bit higher than them. The Longhorns, though, I think, have lost 4 of their last 5 games. They've got wins against Alabama and against Vanderbilt, which are 2 of these top 4 teams. So they've looked good at times this season. They looked good at times when they played the Razorbacks earlier this year. That was the only full game that I've watched them play. But they're good enough to beat Ole Miss. We'll talk about their matchup with Georgia coming up in a second. South Carolina and Oklahoma. How about Oklahoma? They started out SEC play 1-9, 1-8, 1-10. They started out SEC play 1-10, but I'm giving them the nod here over South Carolina. Nigel Pack can play, and he'll get them to the quarterfinals. And let's talk about it. The quarterfinal matchup here on Thursday, Kentucky and Missouri. Kentucky might be a slight favorite in this game, even though they're the 9 seed facing off against Georgia. This game, another early one. But I actually think Big Blue Nation upsets Missouri, and that really hurts Missouri's chances of making it to the NCAA tournament. So I'm giving the Wildcats to advance here. It's a little bit because of my bias towards Kentucky. That's probably why they'll be favored in this game. That's why they're easily into the NCAA tournament, because it's Kentucky, and you just assume that they're going to have a good basketball team. They're not as good as they have been in years past, I will say that. But they're good enough to be in the NCAA tournament. They're good enough to beat LSU. They're good enough to beat Missouri. I really like Missouri's team. I think they've got a couple of big guys that are tremendous at playing the game of basketball. But I don't think Missouri wants this game. I don't think Missouri will win this game, and I think Kentucky will win. So that's my move there. Let's move on to that game. The next game on Thursday, Game 2, Game 6 overall, Auburn and Tennessee. I don't pick many upsets. I'll go ahead and spoil it for you a little bit. I don't pick many upsets in this SEC tournament in my bracket breakdown here. This is one I'm picking an upset. So give me Auburn to take down Tennessee. Again, this is a game I think Auburn just wants it a little bit more. And I think because of them being a bubble team in the SEC, or excuse me, in the NCAA tournament, I think Tennessee's not playing like the team we saw midway through SEC competition. They've lost 3 of their last 5. Don't get me wrong, Jacoby Gillespie is a great player. He's a first-team All-SEC player. But I think Tennessee actually loses in this game. And that'll be a bit of a shocker because the Volunteers will have a big fan base there playing in their home state. Okay, moving on to Game 7. Texas and Georgia. I mentioned Texas earlier, how I like their team, how they're also a bubble team. Facing off against Georgia. I might have a little bias because of how Georgia played earlier in the season when they destroyed the Razorbacks in Athens. I understand this game's not in Athens. It's a neutral site affair. But you see it here. I think Georgia will win this game against the Longhorns. I just think they're the better team. They've got a flashy offense. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. Most of the time, every now and then you have something weird, but most of the time, if teams are playing good heading into the SEC tournament, they're going to win a lot of games in the SEC tournament. Georgia, like I said, has won 5 of their last 6, so they'll advance to the quarterfinal matchup. I think I said quarterfinal earlier. It's a little complicated here. There's a lot of teams now that you got Texas and Georgia in here. And finally, our game on Thursday, Oklahoma and Texas A&M. The winner of this will play the Razorbacks on Friday night. Again, I think Oklahoma's a good team. They scared me when they played the Razorbacks. Nigel Pack is a tremendous player for them, but I think Texas A&M is just a better team. So the 6th seed out of the SEC, the Aggies will advance to the quarterfinals to face off against the Razorbacks. I just think I'll talk more about the Aggies later when that's play the Razorbacks. Okay. Quarterfinal matchup, Kentucky, Florida, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Georgia, Alabama, A&M, Arkansas. We'll start with the top one. This is where the magic runs out for Kentucky. Florida's the best team in the SEC. They're one of the best teams in the country, so I've got them advancing to the semifinals. Really no problem there. Auburn and Vanderbilt, I also don't see another upset happening here. I'm giving you Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's been impressive this season. They'll have kind of that home court advantage. Their campus just 10 minutes down the road from Bridgestone Arena. So I like the Commodores to advance to the semifinals. Same thing here. I'm giving Alabama the nod to advance to the semifinals. Georgia, again, is a good team, but Alabama has been playing really good as of late. Let me double check the math here. I can't remember. I think they've probably won 9 of their last 10. They've been playing really good, including a double overtime win over the Razorbacks when they probably should have lost because they were down by double digits in the second half. Finally, let's talk about the Razorbacks, the Arkansas Razorbacks. If you're watching this show, you probably care about the Razorbacks. And I think Arkansas wins this game. Buckyball is good with Texas A&M, and they started out the SEC play 9-1, but since then they have, 7-1, but since then they've gone 4-6. They play a quick brand of basketball. Arkansas won this matchup just a couple weeks ago at Bud Walton Arena. I think this game is tight, but I think Arkansas pulls ahead to advance to the semifinals. So it's really chalky. I've got the teams that are supposed to be in the semifinals. But that's just my prediction. I could be wrong. Finally, in our semifinals, or not finally, we still got a couple ones left. But let's talk about the semifinals. Florida and Vanderbilt. As I mentioned, Vanderbilt has the home court advantage, but Florida is just too good this season. I got Florida advancing to the SEC championship game. And then Alabama and Arkansas, it's a rematch between these two teams that went to double overtime. You know Darius Acuff wants 50 points, and he wants to win this time. I don't think he'll score 50 points. I think he'll score 31. And I think they'll beat Alabama to advance to the SEC championship game. And obviously I have a little bit of bias. Okay, and we're here in Little Rock. We're rooting on the Razorbacks. I grew up a Razorback fan. It's been a while since I've seen Arkansas in this SEC championship game. I'm going to say 2016, 2015, somewhere around there. Kind of when the Mike Anderson days were good, the Daniel Gafford days. I want to say maybe the last time that they made it to the SEC championship game to face, I feel like they played Kentucky last time, but they're playing Florida. They get a rematch with Florida. The last time they played Florida, they lost by 36, I believe. It was in Gainesville. And Florida's got all the players. They got Thomas Hawk. They've got Boogie Fland, who was a former Razorback last year. They got Ruben Chinyulu. They got Xavier Lee. They've got a lot of really good players. And again, there's a reason that they're a projected 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They're the reason that they're 3 games ahead of everyone else in the SEC standings when the regular season came to an end. And Arkansas is a great team, right? They got Darius Acuff when he's not playing well or when he's injured. They got Malik Thomas. Their freshman duo is probably the best in the nation. What worries me about them and what will worry me when it comes to NCAA tournament time and what has been a problem for Arkansas when they faced off against some other teams this season, one, starting out slow, which they've gotten better at, defense, which they've gotten better at, and then how their bigs will play. Malik Ewan, Nick Pringle, Trevin Brazile. How are those guys going to step up and play for the Razorbacks? If those 3 big areas of what Arkansas has struggled out this season get better, which they have, Arkansas has a chance to win this game. And if they excel at all 3 of those things, start out fast, you play good defense, and your big step up, the Razorbacks can win this game. But all those things have to go pretty perfectly to beat the Gators. So I think Arkansas loses this game. I think Florida is your champion and wins the SEC championship game. Doesn't matter, though, in the grand scheme of things. Arkansas will be a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament if they make it to here. Now, what happens if they lose this first game? They'll probably still be a 5 seed, maybe fall to a 6 seed. But again, not a ton of that will matter once it comes time for the NCAA tournament. So there it is. There's my bracket breakdown of the SEC tournament for 2026.